Hey guys, it's Sam here. Just very quickly before we start, Guillaume and I have partnered up with Automation Boutique to write a brand new ebook for you guys called Going Beyond the Buzzwords. It's an amazing ebook that goes through all the things about automation, data, and processing that just simplifies the topics just in the way that we do all the time in Corporate Treasury 101. To pick up your copy, just go into the show notes and click on the link, or go to the website and find the partners page where we have a link to the ebook there as well with Automation Boutique. And then here's the episode. Welcome to the Corporate Treasury 101 podcast. This is the second part of our full interview with Ernie Humphrey from Treasury Webinars, where we discuss the importance of personal brand in Treasury. In this episode, expect to learn why is personal branding particularly important for professionals in the Treasury space, what role does one's personal brand play in his or her career, and how can a treasurer's personal brand truly be seen and bring value to the broader company. And of course, much more. Really hope you enjoy the episode. And if that's the case, you may be thinking about how you found the podcast. If you think back, it was probably word of mouth, social media, or a recommendation from your podcast platform. And subscribers really help more of that happen. So our only request to you would be to go and check out our YouTube channel, which is Corporate Treasury 101. And if you could hit subscribe there, it would mean the world to us and help us get Treasury education to more and more people. And with that, please welcome Ernie Humphrey.
And so, gently moving into our niche, in Treasury in particular, why is personal branding particularly important for professionals in the Treasury space, and what will it bring them?
Yeah, one of the things that why I know it's important, I've done some survey work, and what I've seen is that over the past, especially 2 or 3 years, the responsibilities of Treasury are increasing. And the good news is we're actually seeing more Treasury staff and more professional development opportunities. So you have to be able to deliver once you've earned that seat at the strategic table. And when expectations are higher on you, in order to deliver value, you have to be able to collaborate. Within Treasury and across Treasury, surveys have shown, we all know there's silos within Treasury, right? There's definitely silos across the Office of the CFO. So I've tried to focus my folks in Treasury to how do you remove silos within Treasury, but how do you collaborate with AP and AR? Cash is king. How do we own all cash movements? How do we understand the why of those? So as you build those relationships with AP and AR, you can take more control of cash, optimize everything, working capital, every type of cash movement, and you can help these people understand relationships with suppliers are critical, relationships with customers are critical. Every communication should have a purpose, right? And also, as we have more technology, it's important that we build relationships with our providers. You don't want the guy that sells you something and goes, they say, customer success, customer success. Well, let's make them do it, right? Okay, what does that mean? How do I build a relationship with you so you feel accountable to me? So to just keep saying over and over, relationships, technology is awesome. It's great. It's not going away, but the human part of it, the communication, the collaboration is where people are going to find that they deliver more value and they'll have more opportunities. So what you'll see is as the better you collaborate, you build trust with folks, then they ask you questions. Would it be nice if the AP person goes, oh, hey, can't we work on this? How do we work on that? And also if you're in Treasury and you're in insurance and risk management, you have to get people that trust you to share, right? When you're trying to get forms. I'll give you an example when someone didn't trust me, which wasn't my fault. We had an office open in Mexico. They had this grand opening in Mexico. So about 3 weeks later, I see pictures of the grand opening, and they have a mechanical bull out in front of the office. And they knew I would be like, there ain't no way, But if they'd have trusted me, they would have told me. And then I would have told them no, but we would have figured something out, right? If I'd have just made sure they signed the waivers and all those good things. And so if you have trust with people, it makes your life easier. and opens you up to opportunities to move. Maybe you want to move within Treasury. Maybe you want to be the CFO. You never know, and people will respond to that if they respect what you do.
I like what you just said here. And we have a line that we like a lot with Usami is people buy from people, not from businesses. Meaning putting the emphasis on how important it is to build the relationships, to be trustworthy on the long term, and like make a point to always deliver on your promises, be there when needed, and like building those strong relationships. I like how you made the link between, okay, Treasury as a function is one thing, but the people within the Treasury, they build the right relationship with the other departments, then you unlock efficiencies and synergies that you might not have had if it wasn't the case. So super interesting. One of the things our audience responds to a lot and is really interested into is how to grow a career in Treasury and how like get education, but also how to apply this education and make sure we grow in a career in Treasury. What's the role of personal brand here? How does that enable growth in one's career?
Well, to me, there's kind of different ways you can grow your career. I think we've already touched on how paying attention to your. Let me put it this way: pay attention to you have a professional brand at work, right? So if you invest in that and others respect your professional brand, that's going to help your career. So getting to know someone, helping them understand the value that you bring, setting expectations with them, just showing an interest in what they do and how they do it and how you can help. Ask someone, what are your biggest challenges? Everyone likes to complain, right? Ask anyone that knows me, right? So build those relationships, and that will come organically outside of work, depending on where you're located across the globe. Look for opportunities. If you have a story to share, lessons learned, contribute, come on a podcast, right? Like this amazing podcast. If you're in the U.S., maybe you have an AFP regional chapter. They always love people to contribute. So in some sense, you got to find a way to toot your own horn, right? I mean, and then you should reach out. Hey, I saw you spoke on this. How did you make that happen? So don't be afraid to ask others. How have you done this? If you write an article, you give anyone a little ego boost, especially me. Oh, man, I'll walk in traffic for you if you tell me you like my suit, right? So those are things, mindful of your brand. Ask people, deliver value, your brand within work, but also your peers. As you start to build your brand with your peers, and not that you want to leave your job, but you'll start to get job opportunities. I tell people, you know your brand is working when you're getting job opportunities organically. If you're not, then you need to work harder. Same philosophy for myself. If people aren't reaching out to me on a weekly basis for potential collaboration opportunities, then I need to work a little bit harder in my own brand, which is an investment. You need to stay on top of it.
Super interesting. So advice to the people who are listening to us right now. What are the things that are beyond the work harder? Like what are the things you should watch out for and say, okay, I'm not getting this organic job proposals or this organic collaboration propositions. What's the right thing to do? What are the first steps to implement?
I think one area where people just don't spend enough time is on their LinkedIn profile. That to me is the foundation of your brand. If you do a Google search on anyone, if anyone finds you interesting, an employer, anyone, that's going to come up. So you really need to invest in your LinkedIn profile. That's a whole different session there. The other thing is you have to be wanting and to receive feedback from others. Hopefully you can have an honest conversation with your boss, and he's not going to sugarcoat it. It's just going to say, may seem weird. What are the things you think I need to work on? The other thing is to do, this is Dr. Phil stuff, but you sit down with yourself. Okay, I'm happy to share. There's certain skills you need to be successful in Treasury. You look at, this is what I have. This is what I don't have. This is where I'm at. How do I upskill myself to get here? Do I ask for help? Do I go to a webinar? Do I go to a strategic treasurer? How do I get myself up to where I want to be? And then ask people, your colleagues, hey, or ask them for help. Maybe this guy's the tech guy. Hey, John, how did you learn how to do Chat GPT? or just having that willingness to learn and that eagerness to learn, sometimes people will automatically feed that information to you, and it will become, in a lot of ways, once you turn on your listening and your perceptive, it becomes self-evident things where you might need to do a little work.
I think I really understand this from a business perspective, right? Ernie, if I have a business owner, we're business owners, we have our podcast, we understand the value of our brand, you have your own businesses as well. To a treasurer specifically, I'd love to bring the example to them as well. So I really like the example of you and your personal brand. Can you name a treasurer that's doing this really well, perhaps? And then perhaps break down with us a little bit what they're doing really well?
I wish I could. I don't have anyone that comes to mind. I do have a CFO. Her name is Kate Sholnick. She was a guest of mine on one of my virtual events. And kind of what I like about what she does, more as a leader, she reviews the professional brand of all of her team. She looks at their LinkedIn profile, works with them directly, and gives them advice.
That's cool.
Yeah, she makes them own their personal brands, and she helps them develop those brands. So I would say any leader that not only takes ownership of their brand, but takes the time to look at what their teams are doing as far as themselves in taking ownership of their career. So that to me is a leader. How can you take ownership of your career? So if you look at my recommendations, I have more than one person that said, I was trying to help them get better, and I didn't care if they left my department. So that is what a good leader is all about.
I have one in mind, which is Leanne Perkins. I think she's doing that.
Oh,
really
yeah,
well.
I know her. Yes,
She's a treasury advocate. I think she named herself on LinkedIn, and she's really that. She's really getting out there, out of her own way to advocate for the treasury profession, and it's quite impressive. And I guess any treasurer that ends up going to lots of speaking events, speaking at conferences, going on podcasts, that's definitely what you want to develop, right? Define what is important for you and then go out there and talk about it. Definitely Leanne, for instance, educating people on treasury, sharing knowledge, pay it forward. So that could be, I guess, one of those examples.
Yeah, I've had Leanne speak at one of my virtual events. I also want to convey that treasurer is important, but every person, whether they're a treasury specialist, treasury analyst, we all need to be doing this. So you don't just need to be a treasurer to own your brand, be important, be a leader, you're a supervisor. Everyone should be doing this throughout their career, and we should be doing this. And I'm going to give everyone a preview. I'm going to start a community here in a few months. It's focused on every finance professional, shining the spotlight on them. It's only about human skills, and that's it. And we need more of that. Being supportive of every person matters in treasury and finance. We need to figure out how to support everyone throughout their journeys. And how do you be a good treasury specialist? We should be telling people, right? Yeah. A treasurer is fine, but we're not all treasurers. We're not CFOs. So that's my career passion as well, is how do we help everyone through every stage of their career?
Super interesting. Do you have any anecdotes of good career moves that have come out from personal branding? People have progressed in their career or made big jumps, like you said, job offers that people get from having good personal brands?
What I have seen, names, I talked to so many people. What I have seen is, here's one I think it's self-serving, of course, because that's why I have a business. But we had this gentleman friend of mine, I think you probably know him as well. You probably interviewed him, Mike Richards. Mike Richards and I did a podcast on how to go about winning a job opportunity. Well, I just picked a job off of LinkedIn. One of the people that listened to the podcast, they got the job based on the advice that Mike and I gave, which part of it was about her brand, selling her brand, connecting with people at the company. So that's one specific way. I can tell you that when you see someone speaking quite a bit at an event, maybe at AFP or something, I guarantee you that they are getting more attention. They're getting more organic outreach. So I would say almost across the board, when someone puts themselves out there on a podcast or a blog or a magazine article, it's almost without exception that it's definitely not going to hurt, right? And it's definitely going to help. Invest in that brand. Eventually, you will come to see the value. I have no doubt.
Yeah, I like that a lot. So as an ex-consultant, and I think Hussam had quite the same experience as engineer at Procter & Gamble, we got those job offers on LinkedIn. They were just not very good job offers. Right. So good personal branding will eventually be about, hey, you're so much out there and paying it forward that people will reach out to you to actually give you bigger opportunities that you would get if it wasn't for your personal brand. And that's where the great career moves come from.
The other thing I want to say about Treasury, sorry to jump in, is unfortunately, what you'd like to see is every generation has their movers and shakers in Treasury. Mm-hmm. This generation that I've seen here, I don't see enough. I can't tell you, I wish I could tell you 4 or 5 people that are like treasury managers or practitioners like Leanne. We need, Leanne is probably not possible to replicate. We need 100 Leannes, right?
100 Leannes.
We don't see that. The field is there. I'm a treasury specialist at this tiny little company in Fort Wayne, Indiana, which is in the middle of a cornfield. Within 4 years of working hard, I was the subject matter expert at the AFP for the whole country, right? I'm not a rocket scientist. I work hard. I care about people, right? So the field is there. I would say go out there and grab it. It's there. Let me know if I can help you. The opportunity is there. Take advantage of the opportunity that you have.
Mm. And I mean, 4 years on the scale of a whole career is not that much, actually. It's pretty fast. Like if you can go from quote unquote nothing to speakers at an event like the AFP one, that's pretty solid.
Yeah. Yeah. Now this is I'm tooting my horn. Now I worked there. I was a subject matter expert for the whole country for Treasury. It wasn't that I got to speak. I was hired as the leading expert by AFP, which is the biggest Treasury organization. So that's why I'm trying to tell people that you can ascend as high as you want to be there. It's not a dream job. They don't exist. But that just shows if you try, all you have to do is put your name out there and deliver, and people will respond to it.
Awesome. So we often call Treasury a support function, right? Which is in nature true, right? Treasury is here to enable the business. How does the personal brand of a treasurer going above and beyond in terms of, okay, I'm renowned in the treasury space. My AP and AR department knows me. I have some good relationship with legal and tax eventually because treasury always has something to do with tax and the other way around. But how do we go from I have a personal brand, I'm known in treasury, to, okay, I have an actual impact and visibility at the company's level, if not board level whatsoever?
Yeah, so great question. So your professional personal brand needs to go up the corporate ladder as well as across the corporate ladder. So survey work I've done, it shows that not many people feel they have a seat at the strategic table with the CFO, but there's a lot of people that are close. They're occasional advisors, they do the reporting and things like that, that we need to focus on. How do you communicate with impact? How do you tie what you do to the bottom line? One way that I've seen Treasury folks really ascend is they can become looked at as a resource, especially on M&A side. It might initially start as maybe it's insurance, maybe it's whatever, but we help the CFOs realize that we have a view of the business that nobody else in our company has. We know how all the parts work together. We impact all the parts together. So who better for you to ask questions of? I know all the mechanics. I know the people in the field. I was manufacturing. I know the plant people. I know FP&A. I know insurance. I know risk management. I have my fingers in the pie. So this is something that no one else in the organization has. No offense, not even the CFO. So part of it is just we need to communicate more effectively the value that we already are bringing. It's not being received and respected. So that's part of it, is your brand communicating with impact, that value, and tying that to the bottom line. Let's say, for example, I did this AP automation project. I saved us $500,000 expense. Bottom line, every year, $500,000. Oh, whoa. You tie it to the profit. Tie it to the profit, and then CFOs will pay attention to what you're doing.
Yeah, 100%.